Oh, what's up, guys? This is the first YouTube video of the Honestly Basketball channel. Um, just I don't really know what to expect with this. I'm just gonna have fun with it, and wherever it takes me, it takes me. Follow the other socials. That's also a really cool place. I'm also kind of more active over there. But yeah, that's besides the point, man. Let's focus on today's video. We have the NBA awards as of the All Star break. So I kind of want to clear some stuff up. This is if the season ended today, not kind of predicting. I'm not predicting, although you know, I don't really mess with my predictions, but that's not what we're doing today. This is if the season ended right now and they needed awards. This is who I would give it to. I did it like I did top three for every award. So yeah, that's how it's gonna be. Let's just start off with the heavy hitter. We're going MVP first. So like I said, we're doing it in top three. So at number three for the MVP, I got Luka Doncic. I feel like he was number two a little whiles ago, but I put him to three because obviously leads the league in points per game, having an absolutely crazy year. Mavericks are in the playoffs, which I'm a bit concerned about because I know Kyrie, Luca, they're 0-2 together, and that defense has been really suspect with those two as a duo, so they might slip a little bit, but that can't take away from what Luka Doncic is doing this season, averaging like 33 points a game, about to win a scoring title, like good efficiencies, 8 rebounds, 8 assists on the night, had a 60-point triple double. I mean, he's just doing some crazy stuff. So shout out Luka. He is my number three. At number two for the third year in a row, I'm pretty sure it's Joel Embiid. He's turning it up as of lately. I feel like ever since he was announced not really being a starter, that first game against Denver, I think it was on Christmas. It may not. I don't think it was actually. Whenever that game was against Jokic, he turned it up. Joel's been going crazy, averaging like 33 and 10. Obviously playing great defense. It's Joel Embiid. Um, but at the end of the day, he's always going to be number two behind the number one MVP. My pick, Nikola Jokic. I feel like it's bound to happen. First player since Larry Bird to win three in a row. I know voters fatigue. I do believe it is a thing, but it's just he's averaging a 25-point triple double as a 7 footer on historic efficiencies. His effective field goal percentage is 66, which is absolutely absurd. He's shooting 63% from the field, almost 40% from three, 24, 11, and 10. I mean, it's just crazy. I feel like this is a clear cut MVP. I don't think the race is over yet. I do think, Joel Embiid, playing how he's playing, could definitely catch on, But at the end of the day, I have to go Jokic. I'm giving him the third in a row, which puts him in elite company. But at the end of the day, it's just what's right. He's having the most valuable season. Nuggets are the one seed pretty convincingly. I know Grizzlies are there at number two. But yeah, my pick for MVP is Nikola Jokic. The next award I'm doing, Defensive Player of the Year. This is a bit of a tougher one, I guess, but I still got my what I'm saying, I came with my predictions. Throughout my number three spot for DPOY, I was kind of in a bit of a toss up between Evan Mobley and Bam Adebayo. I'm probably gonna I'll give the edge to Bam Adebayo just because I feel like there's not really another good defender. I mean, Jimmy Butler's solid, but he don't really be trying in the regular season. Bam has been holding it down really good. The Heat are sitting at the fifth best defense in basketball, largely because of him. I'll give my third slot to Bam, but shout out Evan Mobley. He's doing his thing along with J.A. They've been turning it up and been really good as of recently as well. Yeah, they had the second best offense, second best defense, and the highest point differential in the last 2 weeks. They've been turning it up. Shout out Cleveland. But yeah, my number three spot is Bam Adebayo. Number two, I feel like this is also a bit of a, I don't want to say surprise, but going into the year, you weren't really expected this. I have Nicholas Claxton. I do feel like by the end of the year, he won't be this high. because the Nets obviously aren't going to be as good, and their defense has been slumping over the past 2 weeks. But they're still a near top 10 defense. They might have been top 10 before the Kyrie drama, KD stuff, all that. But Nicholas Claxton has been holding it down amazingly. He's been really good. Have the Nets at the 13th ranked defense, which may not seem crazy, but speaking of the slump they're on, they were really good at one point. And Nicholas Claxton has been one of the most improved, candidates. We're gonna get to that later, but Nicholas Claxton, his interior defense, and also his switchability has been really good. His ability to switch on guards, stay on the perimeter pretty comfortably, has been really impressive. So I like that with Nicholas Claxton at number two. But number one, I feel like this is another pretty easy one. I have Jaren Jackson Jr. leading the league in blocks, leading the league in stocks. Has the Grizzlies as a top two defense. I know there was a little bit of controversy, with the home games and the scorekeeper and all that, but that was debunked. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been phenomenal. Just playing in his first All Star game. As the day I'm recording this, it's the day after the All Star game. Shout out to him. He was getting buckets in the All Star game. It was a bit of a surprise to make it, but shout out to him. He's having a great season. I think he's the betting favorite as well. I mean, he's just been having a crazy season defensively, averaging 3.3 blocks a game, a steal. I mean, he's just been going crazy. His defensive rating is through the roof. Probably the most impactful defender in basketball for good reason. Number one, give me it, Jaren Jackson Jr. Next one we have is Rookie of the Year. This is this is a fun one to do. I'm a big rookie guy. I like watching college ball. Doing draft prospects. I'm having my big board and stuff coming out soon. What I'm saying? Subscribe. Stay tuned for that. But here with the rookies, at number three, I'm going Benedict Mathurin. He has definitely cooled off from that crazy hot start he had in the first month and a half, 2 months of the season. Is having a bit of an inefficient season, but what he's doing off the bench, just being like a spark plug, volume shooter type guy. He's been really solid for the Pacers. I was in consideration for Walker Kessler, who's leading the league in rookie blocks by rookie by a crazy margin, something like that. And his with unlimited minutes, his per 36 minutes on defense is crazy. Defensive ratings crazy, but I just had to give the edge to Benedict Mathurin for my number three slot. Up two, I feel like is pretty predictable. Number two, I have Jalen Williams. He is so fun to watch. Definitely a top league pass player. OKC, a league pass team. I think they're that the 10 slot, in the plan, and it's going to be really fun to watch him, Giddy Shea. Jalen Williams loves running the break, always fast. Oh, yeah, and let me clarify, this is J Dub, from Santa Clara, not the big man. This is the guard forward type, but he's been really solid for them, playing good defense, running in transition. He's always running in transition. His pace this season has been crazy. Really fun to watch, dunk it on people. Really entertaining. But at number one, I know he's been shooting it terribly, historically bad this month. But you can't ignore the fact that he's averaging, 20 and 8 or 20 and 7, something like that, bro. Paolo Banchero gave me it for Rookie of the Year, the number one pick, showing his value. He is shooting, I think, 3% from three. It's looking bad right now, but that can't take away from what he's done. I'm not saying he has it completely secured. Jalen Williams, J-Dub has been really good, but give me Paolo Banchero, producing the most, getting it done, having a really solid rookie season. So yeah, give me Paolo Banchero as my Rookie of the Year. All right, next award I have is MIP. This is, I don't want to say tough. Yeah, it's the toughest. Because it's there's so many ways you can go. You have for MIP specifically, it's do you want to go to an Aaron Brooks? Remember when he won it in 2010, or a Desmond Bain, guys who aren't really on your radar, but all of a sudden, boom, now they're starters and stars in this league, or go a John Morant route, a guy who we knew was going to be special. We watched him play these first couple years. We knew he was great. It just happened a year earlier than we thought, which I'm probably towards the first option. I don't know how I feel about all-star caliber, or not that, because my pick is an all-star. Two of my three guys are all stars, but I think guys who we knew were going to be great, who were drafted in the top 10, like Anthony Edwards was the betting favorite entering the season. Like he was the number one pick. We knew he was supposed to be special. I just feel like that's kind of lame. We want to shine lights on guys who, just weren't really expected or so far in their career hasn't really lived up to the hype and just having a sort of a breakout season. That's kind of the more route I went with. But yeah, so at number three, let's get into it. I got Nicholas Claxton. I mentioned him earlier. Number two on my DPOY ladder. He's number three here. I thought that going into the season, the Nets were going to struggle heavily as a big man. But they got their starter. He's still really young. They do still like big man depth in general, like a backup center. Daron Sharp's been solid, but Nicholas Claxton again, it's the defense. That defense switching on to guards and then protecting the paint better than most in the league. On offense, absolute lob threat. Still can't hit his free throws though. Nah, but Nicholas Claxton, shout out to him. He's my third pick for most improved player. This is the one that I feel like, isn't necessarily because he had more opportunity or a guy who wasn't really on many people's radars, but I still think that, obviously shining, going to be all defensive first team. Um, he's been great this season. Number two, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You can make a case for this guy this season to be the best shooting guard in the league. I wouldn't be mad at it. This is a guy who doesn't really have increased opportunities, but the only reason he isn't number one because he was a near all-star last season already. Like we knew Shai was that dude, but he just kicked it into a different gear, averaging 30 a game, playmaking well alongside Giddy, playing good defense. Being the vocal point of the Thunder who are sneaking into the play-in unexpectedly, out of nowhere. He's been really solid for them. All-star. I don't think he was a starter, but he was still making his first All-Star game. Shout out to him, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's my guy. But number one, man, All-Star starter. I want to say thrown into the trade. It's Larry Markkinen, man. Part of the Donovan Mitchell trade. I feel like he was kind of, I don't want to say a throw-in, but kind of a throw-in because, the Jazz were doing it to try to blow up, the situation, blow up the core, start a rebuild. So they wanted the draft capital. They got Larry Markkinen. They obviously aren't as good as the one seed they were in the first week, 2 weeks of the season, but they're still in that playing realm, largely because of Larry Markkinen averaging 23 a game, just being a really go-to number one option for that Jazz team, blossoming into an all-star, is a starter, getting buckets in front of his home crowd during the all-star game. Shout out to Larry Markkinen. This kind of came out of nowhere, but you gotta love to see it. A guy who in Chicago, showed his moments, had tons of flashes to be great, then didn't really live up to it. It was just kind of like an ordinary start in the league, and now back up to where he is now. I mean, you love to see it. Larry Markkinen, most improved player. Sixth man of the year is an interesting one. I feel like this fluctuated a lot throughout the season. I still don't feel confident with my picks, but we're gonna go out here with the number three. New Clipper, by the way, like a couple hours ago. Russell Westbrook only started like 3 games this year. I know his efficiency isn't good. I was torn between like him, Benedict Mathurin was up there. I forgot. There's a couple of more guys. That I could have gone with, but I ended up going with Russ. Obviously, from his time in LA, I don't really know how him going to the Clippers is going to affect it, or if he's going to start or not with John Wall being gone. But yeah, it was. I gave Russ my 3 slot. And keep in mind that this is if the season ended today, not my predictions, because I feel like Tyrese Maxey would have been on here, but he started like most of the games. He's only recently coming off the bench for D'Anthony Melton, who has been really solid, for the team. But yeah, Tyrese Maxey isn't on here. You could have gone Benedict Mathurin, Christian Wood, Jordan Poole, I guess, might have qualified. But I'm going Russell Westbrook here for my 3 slot. And then number two, LA Clippers, Norman Powell. I was on their subreddit and they did like these like a survey, like a mid-season assessment survey type thing, and they voted Norman Powell the most surprising player, which you gotta respect. He's having a really good season, especially shooting the ball. This season, shooting 41% from three, shooting splits are up, averaging 17 a game off the bench, has been really solid for them and a key contributor to an offense that really started off slow. They've been better as of late, but they're still a bottom 20 offense. But he's definitely been a bright spot off the bench for them. But number one, I have Malcolm Brogdon. This dude, he's been doing it all. Former 50 40 90 player, on the best team in basketball. Like I said, dude does it all. He's been playmaking at really good for the minutes he's gotten, rebounding good for the minutes he's gotten, shooting 45% from three, which Malcolm Brogdon obviously has to be a solid 3-point shooter, but he never really had it like this. 14 a game, hustling on defense, making, like I said, those hustle plays. He's just been really good for them off the bench. So, yeah, give me Malcolm Brogdon as my sixth man of the year. He's just a guy who this season's been contributing to winning better than anybody else. And out of the 50 games he's played, let me double check this. He hasn't started a single game, which is absolutely crazy. Highest 3-point percentage of his career. Getting almost a steal a game. He's been really solid for him. His per 36 numbers are really good. Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon is my sixth man of the year. Next, we got Coach of the Year. This is one that is pretty boring. I don't want to say boring. Yeah, boring. As far as like the standards of what classifies you as the Coach of the Year. But yeah, so number 3, I have Mike Malone, best team in the West. Enough said. A team that I don't really know if I trust them to necessarily win it all, but they've definitely looked like a big threat to make it out the West. Largely because of Mike Malone. He just coached the All-Star game for the second time in his career. He's been really solid for them. And like the beam, number 2, we have Mike Brown. Has came in and made an immediate impact on this team, having the Kings at the 3 seed, spending time as an assistant in Golden State. Me being a Warriors fan, really sad to see him go. But known as a defensive coach, hasn't really done that. The Kings are up to the second best offense, 23rd defense. But that offense, he's really raised it. Kings out of nowhere, lighting the beam. Like I said, 3 seed, gonna be a lock for the playoffs. And this is really out of nowhere. Who would have thought that the Kings would have been in this position? And they mostly have like the same team. I know Kevin Huerter's been solid for them. Really bad shooting as of recently, but he's been alright. Keegan Murray's been solid, but most of it's just this coaching from Mike Brown, which I really love, especially down the stretch. Giving it to De'Aaron Fox running these sets. I really love it. Number 2, give me Mike Brown. But number 2, seems like a boring pick on the surface. I have Joe Mazzulla. No longer the interim coach. They took that tag off of him, kicking Ime Udoka out the door. He is now the head coach, coming in kind of out of nowhere. Like I said, the Ime Udoka situation, battling injuries, like sticking with the Bucks when they had like all their players out. Like they're running Blake Griffin. There's like Sam Hauser is playing minutes down the stretch. He's just getting his guys together, carrying them to the best. I don't say carrying, but leading them to the best record in the NBA. With the card that he was dealt. Really solid for him. Really happy for him. Just coached in the All-Star game, like I said. Really good. Number 1, give me Joe Mazzulla. And I saved this one for last. It's the new award, the Clutch Player of the Year. I don't really know how they're gonna handle this, but yeah, it's a thing. I thought, why not do it? The new award. So let's get into it. Number 3, I have Damian Lillard. I feel like if this award was around any like previous years, he would have had the record for the most of this award given. Still up there in the top 10 and with fourth quarter scoring and down the stretch whenever you need the last shot of a game, he's gonna be your guy. But these 1 and 2, you can really go either way. I want to call them 1A and B. They're like head and shoulders above everybody else. Kyrie Irving, De'Aaron Fox. I have Kyrie Irving at number 2, De'Aaron Fox at number 1, because De'Aaron Fox's total in the most fourth quarter points, or the most crunch time points, Kyrie is the most fourth quarter points. He went on that stretch, with KD out in Brooklyn where he was absolutely tearing up the league in the fourth quarter. One of those games was against my Warriors, but you could really go either way with those. I'll probably still go De'Aaron Fox, but either one is fine. Those guys have been fantastic. Like I mentioned, De'Aaron Fox earlier, his fourth quarter, just his way to go, just get a bucket. That step back mid range, move is lethal. And he really turns it up in the fourth. But yeah, that's my clutch player of the year. And just like that, that's my first video, bro. Kind of expect more videos like these. I got my award. I'm gonna give one at the end of the year. My one with the end of the year might be two. I don't really know. I'm gonna give like my all rookie teams, all defensive teams. I'll probably do that in two parts. But yeah, I look forward to that towards the end of the season. Expect more content coming. College basketball, March Madness coming up. I'm definitely gonna have a video. Filling out my thoughts, filling out brackets, coming out with big boards, mock drafts, all the above. All type of that content, man. Stay tuned. I'm on that grind. This is the first video of many, and I'm just really committed to the grind. So make sure you subscribe. Do all the stuff. Come with me on this grind. But yeah, that's all I got for today's video. Peace.